Third time is the charm. All right.
There we go.
It's up and recording. So this one will be our... Jesus, look at how fast that is moving.
What?
I have no clue.
Is it on like
There
10
we go.
times?
There we
Okay, wow. Getting it.
Yeah. All right. So this is introduction podcast. This is... Well, first off, welcome to the Next Level Athletics podcast.
Yes, welcome.
I'm Josh.
I'm Ryan.
And we're going to be talking into your ear today. Hope you enjoy it. So this introductory podcast, we're going to go a little bit about who we are, how we met, and then what we're doing now and the stuff that we're stupid excited about, which is awesome. So you lead it off. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
My name's Ryan Nelson. I am 37 years old, so I'm the old guy here. About myself, I went to Bixby High School, so local from the area. I joined the Marine Corps my senior year. So my whole senior year, I was a poolee, which just means every weekend you go and train with the Marines and you run PTs and stuff after school and do all that kind of stuff, getting prepped for boot camp. So I did basically a full year of that my senior year, and then I went in and did 5 years in the Marine Corps. I was primarily a nuclear, biological, and chemical defense specialist, which sounds super cool. And really all it means is that I learned everything there was to know about those things and weapons of mass destruction and how to train Marines to protect themselves in those environments, how those things reacted. So I would be in the command center with the, commander on deck and everything like that, and would be telling the CO, okay, it's this type, it's going here, it's going to look like this, smell like this, all that kind of stuff. So that was my job that thankfully never had to use. But I did do one tour in Iraq as part of a quick reaction force, which is like a SWAT team, basically. So that's what I did for 10 months in Ramadi in 2005.
Nice.
Moved back here. Actually, when I got out, I went into the real estate construction business. My dad's a real estate developer and has been my whole life, so I kind of grew up in that area. Mm-hmm. Went out to California with him. Started building commercial buildings and things like that. When I grew up, he was doing mostly high-end residential, but while he switched over to commercial stuff while I was in the Marine Corps, and got out and started, blowing and going with that, making lots and lots of money, and life was good until the whole crash of 2008, 2009 happened, and everything kind of fell apart with that deal, and I moved back here. My dad moved down to Texas, and I've just been kind of bouncing around trying to find things to do because I'd always kind of had that was my vision of my life up until I was 27 years old when that happened. Yeah. And so it was kind of like restructuring who I am and what I wanted to do. And I got into security work. I owned a security company for a while. And then while I was in the security business, actually got my trainer certification. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have enough time to like really get into it. I did a little bit of training and was too busy with my other stuff. And so I didn't get back into this until I got into the nutrition side of things. And that's how we came together at the last gym.
Yeah, which is awesome. Let's dive into that. I'll go into me, and then we'll talk about how we met. So Josh is my name. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, born and raised. Played sports all my life.
Baby.
Yeah, I'm the baby. I'm 25. I just turned 25. I was about to say 24. So played sports all my life. I ran track and cross country starting 7th grade, I guess, of middle school, and then did that up until junior year of high school. Decided I wanted to play basketball, and in my family it was always if you're going to play a sport, you have to play with the anticipation of getting a college scholarship, or you're going to work instead, because they didn't want to just pay for you to mess around, I guess. So I switched over to basketball, and my dad told me he's going to be hard on me. It's going to be the hardest thing I've done. And I was like, all right, well, let's do it. So started playing basketball. I by no means was the best basketball player anybody's ever seen, but I was good enough to play and get college scholarship to go play more basketball. I went up, and a year and a half in, or I guess, no, a year in, I broke my foot. And it was an avulsion fracture, so the tendon ripped a piece of the bone away. So it took like 15 weeks of thinking it was a stress fracture, until I went to an actual specialist, and they were like, no, this isn't healing. So I had to get surgery, plates, screws, all that stuff. I decided
It's
then.
basically your bionic.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it's gone now. They took it
Oh,
out a year later. It
I'm
was
a
great.
bionic.
Yeah. But I had that and decided I went back to play and had a lot of pain. In that summer between, I had met my now wife, Emma. And so I blame a lot of it on playing and pain while playing. But that paired with having Emma back here in Tulsa was like, okay, what am I doing up here? Because the future, I wasn't going to play professional basketball. I knew that. I was going to school for business management. I was thinking I would go work in an oil company or something like that. So came back to Tulsa, didn't know what I was doing really, just finished school, worked a little bit here and there doing maintenance and some other stuff, worked at a restaurant, and then got started into training. I did personal training for adults, online training for adults, and then got into the athlete realm, which is by far my favorite because that's still a big part of who I am. And yeah, got into all that, and here we are. So Ryan and I stumbled across each other through work, actually, him with the nutrition club and getting involved with training and everything like that. We met each other through that and just kind of blossomed out of that, working at a gym together, building stuff, building, I mean, a very successful realm for us. And now we decided we need that to be our own successful realm.
Indeed.
So that's where we're at now, currently.
Yeah.
In
that
our
brings us
successful
to
realm.
the present.
Yes, it does. It does.
Podcast number 1.
Podcast number 1. That's the backstory on both of us, who we are. If you have more questions on who we are, ask us, and we'll tell you who we are. I guess we can go a little bit over what we do. We'll probably end up doing another podcast that's like really detailed, but this can be a little bit about all of the areas we want to focus on. So for myself, one of my big passions and the big thing that I push is athlete training athletes of all ages to be better. Point blank period, just better. Whether it's a better person, whether it's a better athlete, whether it's just all around in every facet better. That's the goal for me, and that is my drive with it. I know that your drive ties into your life a little bit more with everything. Obviously, both of our drives consist of both of these things, but this one being a little bit more important to you, so I'll let you share that one.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing sports and doing all that stuff. As Josh likes to tell me, I always talk about how good at these sports I used to be, and then I remember that I didn't really even play them into high school. So Josh's like, "Okay, you were amazing in elementary school," but I was in swimming in high school was primarily what I did most through my high school career was on the swim team. But when I joined the Marine Corps and I got into NBC, I found that teaching, which is something, I was the kid that hated school and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But teaching Marines about, all the stuff that I learned was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. And that's just really kind of one of those things that I didn't expect to really enjoy, but I do. And when I got into the nutrition side of things, seeing the growth of people and helping them change their lives, dramatically through, weight loss and eating healthier and all that kind of stuff. And then into the athlete world. I mean, I never really, I wasn't the amazing athlete or whatever, so I was going to train, athletes and stuff like that. I never really thought about that fact. But when I kind of got into it via nutrition with you, seeing the kids change and helping train and doing all that stuff and even doing pro athletes, it was amazing to see, one, that I was even capable of helping pro athletes become better. It was amazing to me. That was very, humble kind of thinking, like, okay, I'm good at this, but not that I was that. And so it was easy. It was awesome to see that kind of change. And then just the kids really is being able to teach kids to be self-confident and better in themselves is something I didn't have growing up. I kind of did that all myself. Mm-hmm. Was lucky enough to be self-reflective enough to know I was kind of a punk kid, and that's why I joined the Marine Corps, was to better myself. Because I didn't have, not that I had, parents that weren't good or anything, but my parents were divorced. It was, I had that whole deal, but it wasn't, my mom's not a sports player or anything like that. So it was kind of like me motivating myself growing up. Mm-hmm. And so being able to do that for kids is probably the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I mean, not probably. It is hands down the coolest thing I've ever done. I love it.
I agree. It's weird. I remember going to school with people who were like, I'm going to school to be a teacher. And my first thought was like, oh, that sounds horrible.
My wife's the teacher.
Yeah. It was always something I saw as this terrible thing. But then when you, like, obviously it's necessary. I just knew it wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. But now, like, it was that facet of teaching wasn't for me because I can see now why, like, people do it. It's addicting. When you see how you can build kids up and change kids' lives, it's insane. And it's so cool. It makes everything...
To be able to have that kind of positive impact on people in general. I mean, that's the whole reason that we started the nonprofit and with veterans and all that kind of stuff, too, is through these kids have become addicted to helping people. I mean, I've always, whenever I could and was able to, helped out people in almost, self-sacrificing levels. To my detriment sometimes, but being able to really positively in a good way for me and for them is absolutely, there's no other way to describe it. It's addicting.
Yeah. So the two big facets, and we'll end this one here and then go into details on it on our corresponding podcast to this one, but would be the athlete training. And then a big part that you're going to have a big part in is military training, doing training for veterans, even poolies and current active military. So, so we're pumped about all of those things. Let's go ahead and close this one out here.
Yeah.
Jump onto the next one and talk about some of the more detailed areas.
All right. See you guys soon.